Hello all, welcome to part 14 of the SecurityTube Metasploit Framework Expert courseware. In this video, we will look at client-side exploits. This video is part of the SMFE courseware. If you'd like to enroll, try out the labs, or a bunch of other interesting things, please visit securitytube.net/SMFE for more details. Our certifications are currently being taken by students from over 30 plus countries around the world. And this video is provided on SecurityTube free of charge to the community in line with our vision to provide quality yet free InfoSec education to one and all. Okay, so till now in all the demonstrations, we've seen server-side vulnerabilities, right? Vulnerabilities in various processes, services which are running on the server side. Now, unfortunately, you would find a lot of server-side vulnerabilities a couple of years back. In today's world, most enterprises have firewalled incoming connections, and hence it is becoming increasingly difficult to exploit server-side vulnerabilities and break into an enterprise. Also, most server-side stuff currently is patched either using Windows Update or other things, making it a little bit more robust to tackle from an attacker's perspective. This is where client-side attacks come in. Client-side attacks, typically things like browser-based attacks or any other client program, or as we will see later, social engineering attacks, allow for a much easy target because the client here is operated by one of the employees of the enterprise who might not be very technically savvy as the admin who may have configured and locked down the rest of the network. So in this video, I'll give you a flavor of browser-based exploits. There are dozens of them, and unfortunately, browsers are not patched as regularly typically as the OS is. And in Metasploit, we will use an auxiliary module called Browser Autopon to do a demonstration of client-side browser-based attacks. So here is my virtual machine running Windows 7. I know a lot of you are like, hey, when is Windows 7 going to come? So this is Windows 7 Professional Edition being run here. And this is the attacker machine running Metasploit, right? So now what I'm going to do is set up an attack web server which will actually load up a lot of browser-based exploits, and then we'll see what happens when the client accidentally visits this web server hosted by the attacker, right? So let's use auxiliary server browser autopon, show options. Let's set the local host to be the attacker's IP address at 1.10. This is typically because we will use a reverse connect based payload. Let's set the server port to be 80 and let's set the URI path to be root. Now let me run this auxiliary module, and what you will actually see is basically all of these browser based exploits are being loaded up, right? For example, this one was for Firefox. This is for multiple browsers, again multiple browsers, right? For Opera, Mozilla, Safari, QuickTime based flaws, which again would apply to a lot of browsers, right? And a couple of others. So let's wait for all of these exploits to be loaded. These are typically loaded in different URLs, and browser autopon will lure the client and try out one or more of these exploits to see if it can break into the client. Right? So there goes. The payload handlers have been started. And here it is, server started. Now let's go to our client and type in the URL of the attack server, right? 192.168.1.10. There it goes. Let's go back to the attacker machine. And if you notice right now, we are actually sending Metasploit stage 2 payload to the victim. Fantastic. Now, in browser-based attacks, typically as soon as the Metasploit session is opened, Metasploit will automatically migrate into a new process. This is simply because traditionally browser-based exploits have always known to be very stable, and in some cases, the browser almost always crashes. Thus, if this happens, our Metasploit session will be lost as well, and that's the reason why in many cases we actually migrate into a new process. In this case, we've spawned notepad.exe and migrated into it. Let's do a sessions-l, and there you see our Metasploit session is waiting for us. So let's connect to it. Session ID is 1. Let's do a get UID, which would be the current user who ran the browser, security tube, and then we can do a sysinfo. Check that this is actually a Windows 7 machine, and this is the IP address we've attacked, right? So what we've seen in this demonstration basically is that even if the victim visits a website run by the attacker, which contains a lot of browser-based exploits, if the victim's browser is unpatched for most of the latest vulnerabilities, the attacker could still break in. What is the best part? Note, this is an inside-out connection, which is a victim inside an enterprise is connecting out to an attacker server. Now, your question might be, well, why would a victim connect to an attacker server? So here is my counter question to you. How many new links which you receive over sites like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, over email do you click every day? Could it not be possible that the attacker sends you a spoofed email which contains a link which you accidentally click, or something which you receive on any of these social media facilities, right? Well, you may argue that you are security conscious, but imagine what would happen even if one employee of your enterprise would click on such a link and get exploited, right? So that's all for this video, in which we saw client-side attacks using browser exploits. This video is part of the SecurityTube Metasploit Framework Expert course and certification. Please visit us at securitytube.net/smfe for more details on how to enroll. Thank you very much.